Have you ever sat down and wondered, could I fight 100 disabled children? Probably. And if you're anything like me, then you probably could. But to give them the benefit of the doubt, let's say 1 million. That's a big number, and a whole lot of wheels. Big enough to, if stacked efficiently, maybe reach the moon. So what would it actually take? The distance between the Earth and the Moon is 384.4 million meters, and if the average wheelchair user stands at 130 centimeters tall, that's 295.7 million paraplegics, or roughly the sum total diameter of every planet in our solar system. But we've been there. We've gone beyond our closest celestial body and explored Mars, even Venus. In fact, the farthest man-made object is Voyager 1, which is over 17.6 billion kilometers away, and despite like taking 22 hours to reach it, is still in functional use. So, give it a mirror, and technically with a good enough camera, you could even use it to take a photo of yourself. Yesterday. If everything we see is the result of light bouncing around objects, with certain wavelengths being absorbed and whatnot, and light moves at around 300,000 kilometers per second, everything we see is ever so slightly delayed from when it actually happened. From where you stand at least, this delay is so minuscule it's hardly noticeable. But if you position your telescope to view a mirror of this number, you could technically sit back and enjoy the premiere of Bruce Willis's Die Hard 2, Die Harder. Which raises the question, what if you look so far back in time, there's nothing left to see? To view the start of existence itself. And you can. Sort of. While there isn't a way to really observe this because, well, we can't see nothing, one significant discovery lets us view its shadow. The cosmic microwave background can be described as a heat map of the early universe, but it also acts as a fog in the form of cooled down radiation, preventing us from seeing any further back. What had been plasma was cooling into neutral hydrogen and helium, and for the first time, space was becoming transparent, hence why we can only see so far. Now, I know it's hard enough to wrap our heads around how something could come from nothing, but a theory many cosmologists believe is that there must have been a phase of the universe that set up the Big Bang, and if that's the case, it may force us to reconsider our understanding of time. Whether or not it has a distinct beginning or will always exist as a cycle, forever repeating itself, and what might come before that, we can only speculate, which isn't really that reassuring. However, on that depressing bombshell, in the present, we're just getting started. 66 short years after the first flight of a man-made object, we landed on the moon. 48 years later, we photographed the first image of a black hole, a force so destructive light itself can't escape. As we continue to discover more about space, we continue to realize that this universe wasn't made for us. Our species doesn't fit in, but that's never stopped us. It's sort of why we're here in the first place. Within an infinite number of possibilities within our gigantic sandbox, life itself becomes a numbers game. A dice rolled for each planet on an intergalactic board, where at least one amongst trillions needed the right conditions. And on such a scale that we've begun to fully comprehend, like everything else, it was bound to happen at some point. We are because we can. And that is an encouraging thought. In 1980, when the Voyager 1 satellite passed the planet Saturn, Sagan proposed the idea of the space probe taking one last picture of our planet. This is his remark of an image taken 6 billion kilometers away. From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here, that's home, that's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor, and explorer. Every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of all the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.